What do you want in your life? Make up your own mission statement. What do you want to be in life?
Here's the secret to my success. I stood up and did it again. I stood up and I did it again. And I did it again and I did it again all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it, and I didn't a lot of times when I didn't know much what I was doing. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I got better.
Micheal Jordon tells me one day he wants to be the best player that's ever played here. And I said, well, you got to work harder than you did in high school. He said, I worked as hard as everybody else. I said, oh, excuse me. I thought you just told me you want to be the best player to ever play here. He said, I'm going to show you. Nobody will ever work as hard as I work.
Micheal Jordon is not only the best basketball player, but he's the most exciting basketball player to ever play. We only dream about doing things that he can do.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead!
Played professional basketball for the Chicago Bulls.
32 seconds to go. A 1-point lead for Georgetown. Gordy to Black. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan, Micheal Jordon.
If I had to trace my evolution, the Micheal Jordan evolution, it always had to start back in college. Hitting the shot against Georgetown in 1982 when I really didn't know exactly what I was doing.
Has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
It awakened a person inside of me to excel, to compete, to excel, to be one of the best or be the best. That drove me. And I guess with that shot, it kind of ignited a fire inside of me that nothing's gonna stop.
My biggest motivation in life, is to compete, find different competitions and certain things in life and try to overcome that, be it positive or negative. But I have yet to meet someone who is as competitive as me.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
It was 97, we was in Minnesota, and Flip had switched and put me on Micheal Jordon, one of the greatest probably ever touched a ball. And I counted his dribbles. I was able to catch his dribbles, I counted the dribbles. 1, 2, come across. When I blinked, he was gone. I turned around, he was dunking the ball, giving somebody dapping halfway down the court, that fast. That's when I knew Micheal Jordon wasn't human.
When you step on the floor, it doesn't matter how many times you've done it before. All that matters is that you do it now.
Be true to the game, because the game will be true to you. If you try to shortcut the game, then the game's going to shortcut you. If you put forth the effort, good things will be bestowed upon you. That's truly about the game. And in some ways, that's about life, too.
For me, losing just is the worst feeling in life at anything, whether it's cars, golf, basketball, whatever it is.
I hate losing. It's not even a question. But I have to respect losing, because losing is a part of winning.
Yeah.
You never just, win. You got to lose to win. Losing is going to hurt.
Absolutely.
To a point where you would look at, how can I do things different? How can I change? How can I make this team better? And that's the thing about a team, and this too, is that before you can look at someone else, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, because that's how things get started. And you got to be willing to change.
You are without question one of the most gifted players I've ever seen. What makes you different from other people?
Once again, it falls back to my parents in terms of how I approach a situation. I never feel that I'm at my best. I feel I still have room to improve. I still set goals for myself to strive for. I'm never complacent with what I've achieved. Even though it's been very successful for me, I still feel I have a lot to prove, not just as a player, but as a person, as a father, to some extent as a role model in all aspects. So I'm never really too complacent with myself or with what I've achieved. When I get to a point where I feel I can improve as a player, I walk away from the game. I still feel that I have a plateau that, I hadn't reached yet in terms of my skills or my expectations of myself. I'm always going to expect myself to do, certain things or surpass certain things. As long as I believe that, then, my road to success is going to continue to expand.
Like, I don't have to do this. I'm only doing it because it is who I am.
Don't settle for average. Please don't, okay? Because you'll look back one day when you're old and gray and you'll say, you know what, that frickin' sucked. Because those few moments in my life when I was extraordinary, that was when I felt most alive. You go through, like, you have one life to live, right? Just go for it. And don't settle for anything less than total and utter excellence.
First one reads, this is the beginning of a new day. You have been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. What you do today is important because you are exchanging a day of your life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. In its place is something that you have left behind. Let it be something good.
If your purpose is rooted in your success, your purpose is fragile. But if your purpose is rooted in the person you become, it's untouchable. Because when your purpose is rooted on the person you're becoming, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how things change, no matter how much you vary on success and failure and ups and downs, you never lose your purpose, because your purpose is about the kind of man, the kind of woman you're going to become, the kind of leader you're going to become, the kind of human you're going to become, the kind of husband or wife or father or friend that you're going to become. You need to have goals that are rooted in the quality of life you live and the person you are, and let your success come out of that.
You are going to be tested. You're going to go through hard times. You're going to be in situations where it would be a lot easier just to give up. But why? Because you are being built to become the person that can achieve the vision.
Dangerous to dwell on past mistakes, because people sort of define themselves by the worst moments that they've ever had. And if that's the case, like, some people are stuck in high school. They're stuck in failures that they had, like, when they were first getting jobs, and they always think that they're a loser, and they don't like the feeling of failure, so they keep low expectations so that they never have to feel that. You gotta get through it. You gotta get through bad feelings. You gotta get through failure. It's very important. And you get through it by just picking yourself back up and moving forward and going.
Challenges. Challenges come so we can grow and be prepared for things that we're not equipped to handle in the moment. When we face our challenges with faith, prepared to learn, willing to make changes, and if necessary to let go, we're demanding that our power be turned on. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. Be kind.
I think you know what you're supposed to do. Deep down inside, I think everybody does. A lot of people just don't go after it, like most people start out, they say, I want to be a this, but I'm going to get that to make sure I have something to fall back on. And what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're going, there's a possibility that I'm going to fall back. And when you put that out there, then you fall back. But if you just say, hey, this is what I want to do, and you go do it, you usually get your stuff the way you want it, man.
What are you gonna do? How bad do you want it? There's two options: to continue forward, pushing onward. And if you do, that dream is giving birth, and forever you will live in the reality of it. If you stop, quit, throw the towel, I promise you there's no distance you can travel far enough to ever find that dream again. For it is dead. And in its death, it's replaced by regret. And right now, it's your choice.
But you'll never experience them if all you replay in your mind are doubts and excuses on why going after your dreams now isn't a good time. You have what it takes. Get out of your own way. Don't count yourself out yet. Everything you want to achieve is possible. It might take time, effort, and discipline, but it's all within reach.
So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. You got to start walking because the perspective's not going to change. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. And that's going to be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death.
The only thing in life that stands between you, everything you've ever wanted to do, is doing it. Not preparing to do it, not scheduling time to do it, not telling people you're going to do it, not reading books about how to do it, not watching videos about how to do it, but instead actually doing it.
There's a saying, there's a quote that I really believe in, that when the pain of the current reality becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when we change. So like when the pain becomes so intense that it's greater than the fear that you have of the unknown, then you'll go into the unknown. You can stand there at the door looking at this abyss, but when it becomes so painful that you walk into that, that's when the change happens.
But there's a hell of a lot more to you than you think, like way more. Enough to cope with the trouble of the world inside you. There's enough to cope with the trouble of the world. And if you had enough courage, you could let that out. Enough courage and faith, you could let that out, and everything would be better because of it.
Only fail because they get caught up into what winning was. You're supposed to fail at some point in time. You're supposed to get knocked down a couple times. You're supposed to lose. That's how you learn. Perfection is only a word because imperfection was discovered. You can't be perfect without knowing what imperfect is. You have to experience imperfection at some point to go, now I'm perfect.
I feel something is shifting. Some people are not strong enough to adapt to the change. Some people don't know how to put it into practice in order to go with the change. There will come the time, and it's not going to take long, where a natural separation is going to take place. A natural separation. The ones that are able to read the signs, that are able to go with what is happening, to adapt to the changes this world is bringing to us, they will move on to another world. Other people that are unwilling, unable, maybe incapable of adapting to the coming changes, it is simple like this: they will stay with the old world, which is about to end.
An eagle flies at a certain altitude, and the only other bird flies at that altitude is another eagle. So if he finds himself flocking with pigeons, he may be flying too low.
One of the things limiting you from your income, your impact, a world-class life. You care too much about what people think about you. You can be world-class, you can fit in with the world, you don't get to do both. One thing I've learned is everyone has an opinion. Why let the opinions of other people deny you from a life that will make history?
This is my question to you. When you gonna free yourself? How long are you gonna stay in this pain expecting change to happen in your life? How long are you gonna stay in this situation expecting things to change in your life? You've been here for the last year, the last 5 years, the last decade, staying in the same mess, accepting the same mess, and wondering why you're stressed, wondering why you're not happy, wondering why you're not fulfilled, wondering why you're not experiencing the life that you deserve to experience. When you gonna free yourself from the pain? When you gonna free yourself from settling for less? Because I want to tell you right now, you don't have to accept it. I know you know that, but I need you to feel that, understand that. You don't got to accept it. You don't have to stay where you're just tolerated and not celebrated. You don't have to stay where you're not happy. You don't have to stay where you're not being bettered. You don't have to stay where you're suffering. You can free yourself from it.